everyone. Welcome back to Cincinnati Zoo Tales. I'm Jenna.
And I'm Mark. Thanks to everyone for tuning in to another episode of Zoo Tales. Jenna, we're really excited. We're here to talk about our newest addition to the Cat Ambassador program, and we have the perfect person here to talk about it with us. The perfect person to talk about it with us. We're being joined today by Emily Myers. Emily is one of the trainers in our Cat Ambassador program, and she has a very special relationship with our newest addition, so we're excited to hear about it, but thank you for joining us today.
Of course, I'm so excited to be here. I was telling Jenna I've always wanted to do one of these, so I'm excited.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, and this, the animal that we're talking about was going to be a guest, but Mark and I messed it up and had to change our schedule, and so...
That was, the cancellation behind the scenes was all on me, so this reschedule, I'm taking the blame for it. We almost had a member here with us, but
it's probably better for our distraction.
Yeah.
It's totally distracting.
So before we get into the newest resident of the Cat Ambassador program, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you become a trainer? How did you get into the Cincinnati Zoo?
Yeah, so everyone here kind of has their own story, which is interesting. Like, everyone's is different. I loved animals from the time, from before I can remember. And in fact, my mom recently found some old drawings from when I was a kid, and it said, like, "Save all tigers, please." And then I drew a tiger. It's just like the tiger only had 3 legs. Like, I'm like, okay, period, great. But I've always loved animals. I wanted to buy a big house to have a bunch of dogs. I remember, like, I just always wanted to work with animals. And people kind of told me over time, like, my dad was always famous for saying, like, "You can't work big cats, Emily, that's not a real job." Or like, that's not a job, or if there is a job, there's only 5 people doing it. Which, is just fatherly love, right? He doesn't want me to get let down, which is, fine. But I worked my way up in the zoo. I worked Wild Encounters, and I did a lot of programming around the park. I did some off-site things. I would go to the news and do all that kind of talk programming. And then I became a volunteer in the Cat Ambassador program while I was doing my master's through Project Dragonfly. And
shout out to Project Dragonfly.
Shout out.
We talked with them also.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, I love Project Dragonfly. We have a couple alum in our Cat Ambassador program from Project Dragonfly. And then a seasonal position actually opened up in the Cat Ambassador program. So I gave that a shot. I loved it. And then actually, unfortunately, COVID happened. They needed a little extra help. So I came on and helped during COVID. And then a permanent trainer spot opened up. And I applied and got that. So it's been my dream for a long time. And actually, it's funny because my dad said all those times there's only 5 people that do that. And I became the 5th full-time Cat Ambassador program trainer. So I said, well,
Full
technically
circle.
we were both right, Dad. So so that's how I ended up here. I've always loved big cats. I always grew up like drawing tigers and loving like that big cat conservation. And so I'm just really lucky that I ended up in the Cat Ambassador program with cheetahs. So
Would you say at any point you thought I would prefer to be a trainer / presenter and doing these shows, or do you was there a part of you that wasn't really pursuing that, but you just kind of ended up there?
In Wild Encounters, I feel like, well, you were Wild Encounters too, right? Yeah, there's a lot of that, like, presenting and talking, and I thought, I love the animal side and enrichment and keeping and all of that, but I found that I really thrive in shows, and I love talking to the public because I feel like that's such a big difference you can make. You show them a training session, like lots of keepers do here, or, you do this whole, kind of formal program like we do, and there's really nothing like seeing a cheetah run full speed in front of you. We're one of the only places in the world that does it, and I'm so proud that people can come here from all over the world and get to see that. And so I think once I kind of figured out that balance of I love doing keeper work, but I also love education and getting people to connect with the animals that I take care of, that's just a plus for me, is like they can also love these animals that I love too. And that's what kind of shows and programming allows us to do is, how our zoo always says, like, we get close enough to care. And I think that's what the Cheetah Encounter is. And so I just love that. And I would be fine being a regular keeper, but I just so enjoy getting to share what we do.
I think it's really important that we have people like you that are willing, because it takes an extra amount of energy to be able to talk with the public. And a lot of people that consider themselves animal people,
Yeah.
I feel like will tell you, especially the more old school ones or the older I get or, you know, whatever, you just run out of energy. And talking to people can be exhausting.
For sure.
But a part of our job, so much of it is educating the public or inspiring people to care. But I do think there are a special group of people that are willing and able to present while also working with animals and still you can tell that you still love it and it's not exhausting to you. And it's, you know, like there are a lot of people that are like, no, I'm here for the animals. I don't want to go in the public. Don't make me talk to a single human.
I just have to do that. But it's part of the job.
Right.
Yeah.
Please don't make me do that. So,
well, I think we're so lucky here. I mean, you guys too are constantly out with the animals doing like hippos and lions and all your training stuff. And I think it's really clear when you come to the Cincinnati Zoo how much the keepers and training staff and whatever like love their animals and want to share them. Like even if you aren't like someone who works in public programming, it's so apparent. Anytime I walk around and see you guys doing anything, I'm like, they really love like sharing that. So I think that's apparent all over the park.
yes,
Definitely. You're the perfect person for the position, though, and I really think there's gonna be a little girl out there drawing a three-legged cheetah with Emily.
That's so sweet. We get lots of drawings in the mail. So if you've sent us a drawing, thank you so much. We hang them all in our office. Speaking of three-legged cheetahs, we have so many drawings of kids who saw the Cheetah Encounter, and then they draw the cheetah for us, and we love that. We hang them all in our office.
That's so sweet.
We talk about the same thing. It's like we want to like respond, but the quantity is so large. There's so many of these mails that come in. It's possible to respond to them all. Yeah.
Well, we know you've mentioned cheetahs, but the Cat Ambassador program has multiple species in it. And today we're going to talk about servals. So tell us a little bit about Teddy. Where did he come from? You know, a little bit about him, how you guys started working with him.
Yeah, so, man, Teddy is a serval. He is 5 months old today. So his birthday is October 26th of last year. We have been, like, on the list for a serval for a long time. We've had servals in our program for just years and years and years. Predates how long I've been here. And we have two servals in our program right now named Jumbo and Cleo, and they are both 19. And so 19 is fairly old for a serval. They can live into their 20s. But Jumbo and Cleo, we don't ever ask them to do our jumping displays in our programs anymore because they are getting older, and so we don't want to ask them to do that behavior, even though they will do it because they enjoy it. We've had Jumbo kind of slip a couple times, and so we said, you know what, we're pulling back on that. And they just kind of live their retired life. They get to walk out during the programs if they want to, and they do some other cool behaviors. But, you know, we said we kind of need another serval to kind of take the place of those jumps. And for years and years, there just hasn't been one available, and we are so lucky. Our colleagues over at Nashville Zoo, there were two servals born, and their names are kind of funny. So the dad's serval, his name is Winston Churchill, and then the mom's name is Cleopatra, just like ours, Cleo. Yep. And then so they named the two serval kittens Alexander Hamilton and Theodore Roosevelt. And so we loved that. And we were communicating with them from the start. This was kind of unheard of for serval rearing or serval raising. So we kind of did a co-rearing situation. So those keepers would go in and actually handle the kittens with mom in there. And then over time, they kind of built that great relationship where they were able to just go in and take them. And by the time we went and got him, Teddy, from Nashville, they were just staying with mom overnight. In fact, they remarked that they were getting a little spoiled because mom was still letting them nurse overnight. So they were like, they were too old for this. But yeah, so it's a really kind of not unheard, but it's kind of the first time that we're trying this out, and so far it's working really well. They decided to keep Alexander Hamilton, who goes by Xander. You may have seen him on Nashville's social media. He's so cute. And then we got Theodore Roosevelt, and since we already have a Cleo, we didn't want to call him Theo. They were calling him Theo, which is adorable, but when you say, hey, did you feed Theo? Did you say Cleo? So we decided on Teddy. And what's really great about that is Theodore Roosevelt was the only sitting president to have ever visited the Cincinnati Zoo, which we learned after.
Wow. I didn't know that either. That's a nice fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. Apparently he's not the only president to have ever visited, but while he was president. Okay. So, which is great. We learned that after. Most of our animals, we have to name them like some type of African word or like African name. And so we were worried we'd have to change it because he kind of knew it. But luckily we got to keep his his name, which we think is so cute. But as I said, yeah, he was born in Nashville. He was still hanging out with mom, and then the keepers would get him out to do programming.
Can you explain a little bit to the listeners, like, what are the benefits of that? He was meant to be, we knew, like, not we, but the collective we, like, that having servals as ambassador animals was important, and you guys were looking for one. So did you guys talk to Nashville ahead of time? They knew you were looking for a serval, and then they decided to do this co-rearing, and explain why the co-rearing is helpful for ambassador animals.
So I believe it was approved by the SSP to like try this process. I don't know every single detail about that. But we did know that if they both, survived, of course, like rates for that and on newborn like cats can, it varies, right? You don't count your eggs before or count your chickens before they're hatched. But yeah, once they were born, we were communicating with them every day of like, hey, what are they weighing? What are they eating? How are they doing? How is the co-rearing going? And what's really great about that is that they can go in with mom and nurse and get all of those like vitamins and stuff from mom, but they still are getting out and getting used to the public. And it's great. Yeah. And so when we have cheetahs born here, a lot of times mom rejects them, and that's why we have them. And so we have to do that bottle feeding process. Especially cheetahs are pretty finicky, so sometimes, you're worried, you want to make sure they're getting all their nutrients. But this isn't necessarily something we had to worry about because they were still getting, taught how to be a serval from mom. They were getting all those nutrients from her. He was getting to play with his brother and all of that. So all of that really good, like, behavioral structure and nutrients, while also getting to get used to people, getting taken out into the public. They have this cool building that has, like, just floor-to-ceiling window. And so the public could see them train with him, so much so that now that he's been here, he walks right up to a window if he can see even like a kid on the other side. Yeah, one of our photographers took a great photo of, I think it's a little girl just reaching out onto the glass and Teddy's right there. So they did a great job with that. He's desensitized to a lot. And actually where he lived at Nashville, it was a really nice, quiet kind of back area of the zoo. So he got that time with mom and Xander. And actually dad lived right next door so they could see each other. And they kind of had that quiet time to be servals away from the public. And then during the day, his keepers would go get him and do public stuff. So he was getting both sides of that. He was riding in a car. He was getting crate trained. He was learning to walk on leash, learning to put on a collar voluntarily. And so all of that is really important training. Just to get him desensitized to stuff like that. Whether he decided to be like a cat on habitat or he worked as an ambassador animal, it's important, of course, to get animals used to like public view and all of that. So yeah, you guys know that, yeah.
So was his mom an ambassador animal as well? Because I'm just so impressed that the keepers she must have had a great relationship with the keepers to allow them to just like take Teddy out for a day trip and then bring him back at the end of the day.
I don't know.
That's amazing.
I don't know the answer to that. I believe their dad did some ambassador work. I'm blanking on their mom. So sorry, Nashville keepers, if you're listening to this, I'm totally blanking. But I believe dad did some ambassador work in the past. But he quickly warmed up to the keepers there because when we went back to see them, they asked him to like come up to a log for training, and he did it without even being asked, pretty much. So you could tell that they all had a really great relationship with the keeper staff through all the parts of this. So yeah, sorry, I don't know about that. I forgot.
No, it's hard to keep track of it all for sure.
Yeah.
So what was the transport like getting Teddy here?
Yeah, it was great. So Nashville is like 4.5 hours away. Winds up being like 5.5 or so with stops. So it's not crazy. We're lucky enough at the Cat Ambassador program to have this huge transit van that's like outfitted for cheetahs. But Andy, one of the other trainers, and I drove down to Nashville very early in the morning, the day after the Super Bowl. And we drove there, and we were lucky enough to get to stay overnight to see kind of how the keepers worked with Teddy and his family, and just kind of see like what training they were doing, when does he eat, what does he eat, how is he eating is such a huge thing with baby animals. Like, is he eating okay, and is he eating in a way that you can use it for training? And so it was really great to get to learn from the people that knew him best, and knew like, you know, at first he's probably going to go lay on that shelf. He's not going to want to hang out with you, but in 20 minutes he'll probably be fine, right? So, and that's what happened. So we got a lot of time to just sit in with him in this really cool, like, indoor habitat that he had. It's got shelves. It was such an amazing, they have such great housing there. At Nashville. But we just kind of sat in there and we were, you know, quiet. A lot of times we'll put on like Bridgerton music.
Some calming tunes.
Some like the like pop classical, or I know when Andy and I were hand rearing the cubs, we put on Wicked had just come out. So we were putting the Wicked soundtrack. But we like when we're training a new animal or an animal that may be jumpy at sounds, we'll play some soft music in the back. So yeah, we played some Bridgerton tunes to just kind of like, you know, be calm. And he would come down and play every once in a while, and then he'd be like, oh, actually, wait, I don't think I know you guys, but you were a little fun, right? So then he would go and kind of retreat and come back later. The first day, they were kind of showing us how they do collar work with him, which was great. They were kind of like stationing him to a bowl. And then once he put both his feet up, that was his indication that he was ready to be collared. And so him and his brother were both working on that. And we got to see that firsthand. And then just, yeah, their day. It was really cool to just see their day. We got to see lots of other cool animals, of course. But just getting to see what Teddy's life and routine was so great for us. Because then we could try to replicate that back here at CAP. And so, yeah, in fact, we were worried. I think we had shavings or something in his house, and we were like, oh no, like what if he eats the shavings? He had them at whatever it was, he had them there.
Oh,
he was
perfect.
great with it. Yeah, so we were, you know, totally our boss Alicia sometimes calls us helicopter moms. We were helicoptering a little bit, baby proofing and all of that. So it turns out, yeah, we didn't need to baby proof things so much. I think we pulled a tower out afraid that he would fall. Servals famously can jump very high. We pulled it out, what if he falls? Meanwhile, he had a shelf higher than any tower that we have at Nashville, and he was doing just fine with it. So, but yeah, so it was really great to just see how they work with him, how they work with mom and dad, what type of programming they were doing, and how we could kind of use that as a jumping off point once we brought him home. And then, yeah, that second day, after we got to see them kind of through the morning, we created a crate with some of his home hay and straw, and then also just some of our like shavings. And he went right in. Yeah, we were so overjoyed by that. In fact, in the morning, him and his brother play with like stuffed toys at their morning meeting, and he would take toys and bring them to his crate. So we kept calling it packing.
He's bringing his stuff with him.
He's packing a leave. Yeah, he had a gift shop snake, like those really long stuffed snakes, and he would bring it back, and then he'd go get something else, bring it to his crate. Like, you can't bring everything. You got to leave something for your brother. So we wound up getting him a snake. But, yeah, we brought him, of course, a bunch of toys, helicoptering again. We brought him an entire stuffed sushi set. Some of you may have seen on social media, his favorite being a stuffed shrimp that he had. He loved the shrimp. He would put it in his water. We'd have to wash it. He would drag it around. You know, we had to wind up taking it a couple times because he was like trying to eat it. He loved the shrimp. He has a whole set of sushi toys though, so he loves that. The ride home was good. I think we were expecting him to be a little more nervous than he was, which is good. He hung out in a crate with everything that he needed in the back. And Andy and I, sorry?
Everything packed.
Everything. He had a suitcase with him.
He basically did. Yeah, Teddy was on a different food when we had to transition him, so he did. He had his own cooler. He had like lunch packed, right? So yeah, it was great. And he actually like curled up and slept a little bit, which is just a testament to like how great the keepers at Nashville did to like getting him used to being in a van. And I mean, he was riding in a van basically twice a day, getting used to being in a crate. I mean, he was so great. And there were times where he would like cry a little bit, do a little couple noises, and we'd be like, it's fine. You know, we played that Bridgerton music. So to kind of calm him down. It was funny, the one time he stopped, like, crying or making noise at all, was when we stopped at Buc-ee's. So we like to joke that he is a Buc-ee's guy.
Big Buc-ee's fan.
Big Buc-ee's guy. He did not go into Buc-ee's. But we, like, stopped to get gas and whatnot. So we got our sandwiches and everything. But yeah, the road trip home was great. Andy and I got back pretty late, but we stayed, oftentimes with baby animals, you stay, late or sometimes overnight, as a zookeeper. But he was so great when we got him here. I think we only stayed an extra hour and a half or 2 hours. And then we wound up setting up a camera. It's so nice. We have a lot of these movable cameras that we can use on our phones from home. So we were able to set that up and get him set up in his home. He even ate a little bit, which, for an animal in a new space, that's a great thing to see. We sat with him for a while. It's a lot of new smells. He lives right next to our other serval, Jumbo, so I'm sure that was kind of weird for him at first. And then we left him alone after a couple hours for the first night, and I'm sure Andy and I were both on our phones all night, making sure he's okay. Did he just drink water? Okay, that's great, right? So, but yeah, overall the trip was great. We got to learn so much from their keepers. Yeah.
Can you describe a little bit about what servals look like? I don't think they're one of the most common cats that people know about, especially if you aren't in the zoo world.
Yeah.
So if you can tell everybody a little bit about what they look like and just some characteristics of them in general, like where they live and natural history stuff.
Yeah, so servals are adorable. If you come to the Cincinnati Zoo and see a cheetah encounter, a little plug for the cheetah encounter this summer, we have servals in our encounters, and a lot of people say they look like baby cheetahs. So it's the first thing we say. We're coming from the side of the yard, it's not a baby cheetah, it's a serval. And so they're pretty long and lean, just like a cheetah is, but they are quite small. I think Jumbo and Cleo sit at around maybe 17 kgs or so. They're not really super heavy, I believe. Teddy right now is 7 kgs, so he's about 15 pounds. They're bigger than a house cat, but not a ton. And they are really tall. They're a cat with the longest leg to body ratio of any cat.
Yeah, I always thought they looked like supermodels or something. They're so slender and long legs.
They really are. They're very tall and sure-footed. They look almost like a house cat on stilts. Is what people will say, but they are spotted, so just like cheetahs, they have kind of those spots that don't have the rosettes. They're just kind of like polka dots, and then they actually have some stripes on their back as well. Most of them have black on their ears, which some people think is for communication, or the classic eyes looking at you from behind patterning that other animals have. But yeah, they're a small cat. They have giant ears.
So the ears are what stick out to me.
If you see Teddy on social media, something really cute about him is, and we're hoping it stays as he gets older, is that the tips of his ears have tufts of hair coming off of them. And I don't know if it's just because he's a baby, but it's really cute. It's a little extra fur coming off of them. But yeah, they're really pretty cats. They live on the savannas of Africa just like cheetahs do. But they're, kind of they're hunting a different type of animal, right? They're hunting things that are small. They're jumping into the air to catch birds, which is something they're pretty famous for. They can jump about 5 times the length of their body straight up from a seated position or a standing position, which is crazy.
Wild.
Yeah. It's so cool. We have a volunteer try to replicate that at our cheetah encounters, and you really see what is 5 times our body length. Imagine jumping, if you're 5'5" like me, imagine, jumping almost 30 feet in the air. It's crazy. And so, that's a really cool thing about them. They catch the low flying birds. They also, with their giant ears, can hear rodents underground from about a football field away, which is insane to think about. Yeah. Animals have such cool abilities. Yes. And right, like you said, servals are a pretty unknown cat. People see them, they're like, what is that? And the more you learn about them, it's the more extreme things that are just so cool about them. Yeah. They are. Yeah, it's you think they don't hear you. They do. They're great at hunting. When we have them in our big yard, sometimes they will catch a local lizard or the Lazarus lizards, or they'll go after a snake or something like that. So they are very, very fast.
What is their hunting style? Is it they see it and they chase it? Is it, okay, I didn't know if it was ambush or they sneak up on it or...
A little bit of both. So I think if they're hunting something that doesn't see them, they're going to kind of stalk it. I've definitely seen them stalk a little bit. When we're just out walking in the yard and they see something, they just slap their hand on it or their paw on it a lot of times. But, they're also, we like to say, they're Cincinnati Zoo cheetahs. They are not Savannah cheetahs. So, if I threw Jumbo and Cleo out on the Savannah, they would probably hunt differently than they do here at the zoo. But that's what they've learned to do here. But yeah, servals are a really cool, part of the savannah. They kind of fill a different like niche of that environment, whereas like cheetahs and lions and leopards hunt larger prey. Servals are going to take care of those like little rodents and birds. So really cool cat.
Are they more diurnal or nocturnal?
They, I believe, are diurnal.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. At least in our program. They kind of work around our schedule at the zoo. And so a lot of times when we come in, they're just waking up. And then sometimes if we come in late for a program, they're like, why are you here? I'm asleep. But yeah, generally, like, we see them hunt during the day, whether we want them to be or not. So yeah, sometimes in our yards and whatnot. And I believe it's that way on the savannah too, but I'm not sure.
How's the process getting Teddy acclimated? Like, is he going to be in the programs this summer, or is that like a next summer goal? Like, what kind of timeline is he on?
Well, that's a great question. So we're hoping to get him in the encounter at some point this season. He's not going to be in the beginning, but we're working on his training. We've had a little bit of a setback with our yard this year. We got like new wood on our yard, which looks beautiful. Our maintenance guys did a great job. But what that meant was that we couldn't have animals in our large yard for a while. And so we couldn't do a ton of training out there. But Teddy's been doing great, getting acclimated to new spaces. He's learning a station, a target, some pretty classic behaviors that like new animals learn just to like, learn behaviors and help with his own care. But we're going to start that training soon. He's going on really short walks through like our HR building and things like that. Sometimes he'll go do play sessions in like classrooms or like a conference room like we're in right now. And it's getting used to, being independent, but also listening to your trainers. And he's doing a phenomenal job with that. Probably the biggest thing that we see with him is making sure that like he's getting the right amount to eat, or that if he eats too much, then he's like, leave me alone, but that's with any animal. So, he's very smart. He, when he is hungry and ready to train, he really wants to train.
Does he have any favorite foods you can tell?
Yeah, so he loves fish and he loves mice. Our cats here also get something called Nebraska, which is like, it's like when you feed your dogs like a dog food at home. It's got all the nutrients in it. It might look like a dried food, but Nebraska basically looks like hamburger meat, but it has some extra nutrients in there for him. He does not prefer it. He will eat it, but he loves that like prey, like mice, rats, and then like pinky mice, and all kinds of fish. I don't think we've given him a fish yet that he hasn't liked.
Sushi.
Yeah. And you know what? He is a sushi lover. So our resident sushi lover. Yeah. So he's he's not super picky, which is great. He'll work for almost anything that's not Nebraska for now.
That's fair.
Yeah. He really enjoys play with trainers. We are not tactile with him. People often will ask us like, oh, he looks so furry. He does not enjoy that because of the way he was reared, with mom and with trainers. So while you may have seen us in the past do like our other servals will like kind of headbutt our hands or like ask for a scratch. Teddy doesn't do as much of that, which is fine. It's kind of all on their own terms. But he does love when we play with him, like little feathers on the end of sticks, pretty typical cat toys. He also loves water. We had a lot of rain in Cincinnati these last couple weeks, and one of our yards kind of flooded a little bit, and he said that's fine with me.
Is that unique to him? I mean, I think of the Savannah areas they come from being dry. Like, do Cleo and Jumbo like water?
They like when we have like enrichment that is in water, like a fish or something like that. When we try to put them out in a yard and it's swampy, they're like, ugh. Yeah.
They just turn around.
They pick up their feet and they're like, ugh. Yeah, the cheetahs will do that too. They'll step and then they'll be like, ugh. Teddy does not care. He is a little afraid of like a thunder and a lightning because he just, has to get used to that. But our yard was a pretty big puddle and he played in the puddle. We would throw little pieces of like sticks in there and he would try to find them. So we use, our commissary uses these pretty big plastic bins and we fill ours with water and a bunch of like ball pit type balls, and that's his favorite thing you could ever do for him.
That's so cute.
He loves it. I'm hoping to get a video to PR. I'm not sure if they have shared one of that yet, but it is so cute. He kind of goes like fishing. It's adorable. He loves it. So yeah, I mean, he is a water boy. He loves
add that
it.
to the show.
I know,
Yeah.
Clear tub
A clear
for
tank.
everyone to see and find his fish.
So something we do that kind of reminds me in our programs, and this it gives me actually ideas, is like a clear thing of water and putting something in there for them to get. We already have like, we call it like a man-made burrow hole. It's just a clear tube. And since servals have those long legs, they can reach down and grab anything you put in there, just like they would hunt a rodent on the savannah. And so we're able to show that off in our programs, which I just think is so fun. We always get little like gasps and stuff like, oh wow, and I live for that. We call it, I call it zoo tycoon noises. It's like, oh wow, yeah. We love when people get excited about seeing an animal's adaptation. So really neat.
That's awesome. So with Teddy, correct me if I'm wrong, servals are solitary in the wild, right? So does he
Generally.
interact much with Cleo and
Jumbo.
or is he kind of just by himself?
No, so he hangs out alone. In fact, Jumbo and Cleo are siblings. They do not live together. They live separately. They enjoy being alone. Teddy likes his own space. Yeah, sometimes he'll give us a little hiss if he's like, I don't want to do anything. It's a little half-hearted, like, I want my own space type of hiss. His dad does that as well. But no, aside from like the mothers with the kittens, they kind of like to be on their own generally. And that's what we see in our program as well. So yeah, he enjoys his alone time, and then he enjoys his time with his trainers as well. In fact, when we took him, when we got him at Nashville, him and his brother were starting to show some signs that it was time to separate them. And so we picked him up at the perfect time when they would kind of naturally separate anyways. So.
Was that at like 3 months? I can't remember when the Super Bowl was.
It was like in February. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 months maybe.
Okay.
Or so. Yeah, 3 or 4 months. Yeah, so it was a great time to kind of pull him, and now he really thrives kind of on his own.
Do you know what age he'll be full grown?
It's a good question. So he's like 7 kgs right now. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if by a year he's pretty close. But just like cheetah cubs and stuff, they kind of look like babies for a little while. They're kind of fluffy and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if then he kind of leans out more or something. So he is quite a bit bigger than our other servals, or he looks like he's going to be. And it is just, genetics probably, but so for that reason, I mean, maybe it'll take him longer to get to his full weight. Jumbo and Cleo are probably more on the like normal to small side, whereas Teddy is probably going to be bigger than them. So
That'll be exciting. I'm excited to see him in the program. I know it's a lot of work for you guys to get a new animal acclimated, especially like a young animal, right? They present a lot of challenges. You need to go through the whole like basic training process of start with target training, the easiest thing, and kind of work your way up. So I'm sure it's a work in progress, but I'm excited.
It is. Oh, yeah, thanks. We are too. He's really a fun animal. Guests have been really excited to see him. We love taking him to spots where people can see him. Of course, with any baby animal, there are challenges or like training drawbacks and stuff like that. But he has been doing, really well so far.
I'm guessing some of the listeners right now are wondering how can they see him? If he won't necessarily be out in the programs this summer quite yet, are there chances? Is it completely random? Is there anything you can tell them?
So it's not a super fun answer, but the answer is that it's kind of random. Our days are pretty full with stuff, and so it's really when we can get him out. Is it today we have a meeting at 10 so we can get him out at 2? Yeah, let's see, unless something else happens that we have to do. And so we're really focusing on getting him out, and even if that's in like one of our behind the scenes areas, that's what we're going to do just to be able to get him out. But there is no scheduled time for him to be out. We are hoping to get him started in Cheetah Encounters, kind of once they are like up and running, and trying to do, even like a training session here and there as a part of the Cheetah Encounter, and just saying, hey everyone, this is kind of his first try or whatnot, and you guys are going to get to watch his training. We love showing off that kind of thing, even if it doesn't go well. It's people are seeing.
People are still excited to see it.
Sure. And a lot of times it's like you get to see this thing that it's not a finished behavior. You see the process, which you don't often get to see at zoos, right? You see this like perfect, like proper program, and the animals does perfectly and all of that, which, you know, of course, I think people love to see, like, if our pig doesn't listen to us and he just runs. So people love that, you know, which we're like, we love that too. That's great. We're like, you want to go home? That's fine. So we're big on choice, of course. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else we've missed that you want to tell us about Teddy or servals in general?
I don't think so. They're a really cool animal. Check out our social media. They're really great about sharing things about Teddy, and also Nashville Zoo's social media. They've shared his brother Xander quite a bit, and they're really cute. They're really smart cats. And they're kind of, a lesser known animal on the savannah. So, but just as important to the ecosystem as other animals are. So
yeah, definitely worth checking out some of those videos and photos. They're super cute. Really quick, will you plug do you know exactly what days and what times the Cheetah program is going to run this summer? Will you plug that really quick?
Yeah, so our Cheetah Encounters, we start on a spring schedule that's a little less, but our summer from Memorial Day on is going to be Friday through Tuesday, 10:30 a.m. and 12 p.m. for those Cheetah Encounters. So definitely come out and see them. We're writing a new script this year. So if you've seen our Cheetah Encounters before, we're going to have, the same animals that everyone loves. But it is a new kind of themed script that we're really excited about. So we're working hard on that. So
Great.
yeah.
Well, thank you. Can you tell us, what can I do? Do you have anything I can do to be a better steward of the earth?
That's a great question, because I think we talk about that a lot in our programs and in our messaging around the zoo. And just part of the zoo is getting people close enough to care about these awesome animals that we are lucky enough to take care of. But I think one thing that's pretty prevalent right now is and relevant right now is water usage. I think it's important to, try to make sure that we're using the least amount of, fresh water that we can. Generally, AI uses a lot of water, so trying not to use that as much as we can, try not to do that. Other ways of doing that would be running a dishwasher, even if it only has 8 dishes. So studies show that even that amount of dishes is it's good to use the dishwasher, because hand washing will actually use more of that water. So taking a shorter shower, things like that, using rainwater to water plants that you might have growing in your yard. But water, I feel like, is just such a big thing. It's probably one of the most important resources, if not the most, that we have on our beautiful planet. So any way that we can save that or preserve that is the best thing you can do.
And it's easy. You don't actually have to do anything. You have to do less.
Yes. That's true. Yeah.
Perfect.
It's always one I like to be reminded of too, because
Yeah.
a lot of times in Cincinnati, we are lucky enough that water is not necessarily an issue in our area, but that doesn't mean it's not when you go out west, or if you go to Africa, if you're lucky enough to visit out there. It is an issue around the world, so every little bit we can do helps.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that we can do. And something we do here at the zoo is show off those cool rain barrels. Doing a rain barrel at your house, it's just so cool. It can be a fun art project for your whole family to paint your own rain barrel, or see the ones at the zoo. And it also helps you create a beautiful, backyard if you have plants and such that you water with your rainwater. So.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, telling us all about Teddy, and I can't wait to see him in person someday.
Yes,
Please come by.
I've seen the cute videos on Instagram.
He is wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. This was so great.
Course.
We hope everyone comes out and enjoys the Cincinnati Zoo this summer.
Yeah, definitely. To all you listeners, be sure 10:30 and 12 after Memorial Day, come see a cat program this summer. Maybe you'll be lucky enough to see Teddy. Fingers crossed.
Have a great week.